These are big numbers, Matt. How did somebody not notice this when they were actually happening?
Well, this has been investigated for more than a year. I actually expected this story. I was told that the feds wanted to try and get the story out before Christmas, but they had the processes. We finally got this let out of the bag in a public forum on Thursday. And if you notice the games that are affected, and you can go to cbssports.com at the bottom of that story, I've got every game that was affected. The whole thing starts in 2022 with Antonio Blakeney, a former five-star prospect, played at LSU, had a cup of coffee with the Bulls, and now he's playing in China, averaging more than 30 points a game. And then a couple of central bad actors there got involved with him to throw some games. They purportedly, allegedly got away with that for a little while, and then they thought, let's head back to the States and see if we can get some low-level college players who aren't making huge NIL deals to toss some first-half lines or affect some game outcomes. And the list of those games, it begins February 17th of 2024, and then the most recent one in this specific case is January 11, 2025. So I think, Dan, to your question, I think that they had a line on this. The NCAA has also, a number of the players that were charged in this, they've already been found out, named, and banned from the NCAA for life. But it's the grand scope of this. Now, it's 29 games that were affected. In the scheme of things, it's a very, very low number among all Division I games that are played. And we're talking New Orleans versus Lamar, Robert Morris, Northern Kentucky, Fordham Duquesne. But there are, I know with the shirt Polly's got on right now, there are a few former DePaul players that were caught up in this. That's the only power conference program that's affiliated with this. But still, 29 is 29 way too many. This is a huge, huge deal. It's a huge story. And for anyone that sees the story and thinks, all right, I never watched Tulane play East Carolina. Like, what do I care about a Coppin State, South Carolina State game? Remember, Major League Baseball had this issue with its pitchers. We saw what happened with the huge case, Jonte Porter, the separate case, Terry Rozier, Chauncey Billups with the illegal gambling ring. So this is pervasive throughout sports. This one right here, though, as it pertains to all of the games affected, Dan, this really stands to be the most widespread game-fixing scandal in the history of college sports.
And yeah, they caught this, or this was brought to light, but you wonder the number of games that have not been flagged and people got away with this. But are they betting, are these bets legal? Like, are they offshore account? Because if I see 424, 458, North Carolina A&T to lose against Towson?
Yeah, so I am not someone who is logging onto the phone and logging bets. That's just not what I do. But my understanding, obviously, is that if you have an individual game with an individual bettor that is going to bet that amount, and almost every single legal online sports book, they're going to flag that immediately and take it off the board. What they were trying to do here was have a network, literally a criminal conspiracy to log these bets, hope they didn't get flagged. They obviously did. There's not just the sports books that did this. There's third-party watchdogs that work with the sports books, that work with the NCAA, that were tracking this. My understanding also is that, this was a criminal investigation. They don't want to tip it off too early. They want to get all the evidence they can get so that they can bring charges against 26 people that came down, many of them former players in general. But yes, this was all done, or mostly done, in person at sports books, online at a variety of different sports books. And this is just what we have here. There are still, I'm talking to some sources both this week and back in the fall, there are still believed to be some other former players that could still be up for some real trouble here. But this was the big story out of the Eastern District of Pennsylvania, and now we wait to see how it advances, and if all of the 26 charged wind up going to prison. The potential prison times vary by person, but you mentioned this before, 4 players in college basketball, or I should say were in college basketball, played within the past week. Simeon Cottle at Kennesaw State. I know most of your audience isn't going to know who that is. He's one of the best mid-major players in America, so there is a little bit of a shock value there that you even had guys who had allegedly participated in this in the previous seasons still playing as recently as earlier this week. Obviously, all of those players now have been suspended.
Has he been arrested?
He has been charged. There has not been a release that he has specifically been arrested. There have been some arrests made, but the charges come down. The indictment has come down. It's not specifically been revealed if Cottle and some of the other current players have been arrested.